Right then, family. It's been 10 or 11 days since I'd last been on YouTube entirely. I've not even been able to reply to any of your comments. And the reason for that is if anybody knows about the two-step solution where they check who you are every now and again, they will throw that out at you. And it turned out that when I did it, my old phone, my old SIM card were broken. I wasn't able to access my Google channel at all, right? So I'd sent it off and it takes at least 5 days. It took 6. But I'd not even realised that there was something wrong after releasing my last video for 2 days. So you're looking at 7 days there. Right, that's why I've not been able to reply to you. So I'm very, very sorry about that. It's something that's never happened before. I'm just really, really pleased that I've been able to even get my stuff back. Anyway, I'm back now. But the reason why it's been 10 to 11 is because after that, it turned out that my dad eventually died. Okay. So he's left us, and then during this period, I've actually been working an extra 1.5 hours a day. But the strange thing is that during this period is when the information came out about these underground structures or something, yeah, underneath Giza. I've watched about 2 or 3 videos on it, right? It's just all over the place. In fact, I'm really happy that I was able to hold off. Not that I would have jumped on this information anyway. I do think it's, well, hyped up, way over the top, right? Most of it's total garbage. In fact, I will mention the best video that I've seen on it is somebody called Static in the Attic, right? I'm only mentioning his name because I've already mentioned it on my channel before. I don't agree with most of his work, right? But the video that is put out on this particular topic is actually worth watching. In fact, I'm going to address a video of his that he put out 2 weeks ago because that's just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm pretty sure there's better videos on it, but that's just what I've watched on it. Obviously, it's not entirely rubbish information because I've been saying this and trying to prove it, well, for a decade now, that there's an entire city underneath Giza itself, right? I've tried to show actual physical evidence for it, right? Many times, which I will do here because that's the best I can do. I'm not just going to go down the same track that everybody has been going down for the last week, sharing the same information, yeah? Jumping on the gravy train. I'm just not. Meaning, the best I can do is just show you the odd images where, when they were excavating this site, there are some anomalous dark holes around the edge which you just can't see them anymore. So why they covered them up in the first place, I'm betting it wasn't just to stop somebody falling down them, I can tell you that. This isn't England, Europe, where they go over the top with the health and safety. They don't really uncover anything anymore, do they? Unless it's to push their burials of kings in tombs information, then they will publish it and you'll see it in papers all over the West, right? But I can show you images such as that. And in fact, when you see the Great Pyramid from a side view, you can actually see that it's sat on a plateau. And much of it has even been uncovered to get to that point, as if it's sat on another tier, like the pyramids in South America, which I will show here, right? But they do speak about, in fact, it's kind of well known that there are 3 underground tunnels, 3 different levels to Giza itself. I suppose, well, I do know if you pay enough money, they will take you down to the first level, right? But I don't know anybody that's been any deeper than that. So this is outside, the two main pyramids on Giza, and you can, even on the flooring area outside, there were pieces which locked into position, so there must have been further blocks on here, or this stuff locked into place. But can you see these two round holes is where bars, rebar and inner structure as this was made and poured into position for strength, right? You can see it's there. Right, this is the Great Pyramid, and they've been excavating around it. That looks like a door where they've been walking into somewhere. This looks like, the areas like it's like this one here, and another big block will lock into place as you lay it down on top, like the 4 squares I showed you. So it's obviously there's been far more removed than what first meets the eye. And I can go far out too, because these big square holes that I'm showing, I know of at least 2 others, but they're about 20 foot deep. I don't know if they go down anymore, but they're perfectly square. And these just remind me of what I was showing you earlier, where there's like a roof, yeah, that you rest your floorboards onto, or that you might actually build your roof onto itself. Yeah, but it's just on a bigger scale if humans were a lot bigger. But the road area that's around what is now the Sphinx outside the main pyramids just, to me, looks like the tops of buildings. I know it's crazy, but it's just something that I always thought, unless it really is some type of motorway, that runs around this thing. It's just that it's just square, like a T-junction. There's not too much uncovered. You'd have thought that they'd have, after 50, 100 years, that they would have excavated far more than what they have. So they're hiding something to say that Egypt is the most renowned archaeological site on earth. There's just so much of it buried, almost like it came to a stop. Like a waffle block type structure, and look, you can see rebar there. Right now, what you're looking at here is actually the most important image you will ever see about how the Great Pyramids were built. This image here,
right? And what you're looking at is something absolutely mind-blowing, and the size of it, because look, just because that's got a line there, that's just where rebar has just eroded away. Okay, these were just one huge single piece, right? You see how that's shaped like that? This was the end of a casing stone, because look, the casing wasn't a different material. These were the casing stones, right? But they were shaped at the end. It's just eroded away, right? But then another block came in here and was shaped around there and went down to buffers like that. Both locked into place and went around here. You're talking about pieces about 25 by 25 foot in size. Yeah, you know, with the square holes like I'm going to show you, that locked into position from the side, and then blocks on top locked into them. This thing does not move and will not move, and why it's still standing. Yeah, you know, like this here. Yeah, you see these waffle blocks. I know that the child thinks, but I couldn't find any examples. Like, I just couldn't find anything, so I've put that in for you. Yeah, so imagine these laid down. You see these 4 holes, so you get them locking in from the top, and they're locking from the side that go in here and then round there. Yeah, these are all one single piece across the whole structure. It is absolutely spectacular, and it runs all the way up and all the way around. Watch the 2 videos that I made on it, all the way to the very top. This is the other one, you know, that's still got some of the surface on, and it's round here, right? Anyway, I think you understand what I'm getting at. Just some further images for you to look at that will prove to you that it's across the whole structure on both of these larger pyramids at Giza. Oh yeah, the bent pyramid is built exactly the same. The red pyramid I made a video on is completely eroded. More than likely built the same, but you can't see. It is so eroded, it almost looks twice as old as these, but it just could have been built, you know, by a different team with poor concrete. You get me? Anyway, this is the corner. You can see the size of the pieces. And how impossible, because this is only the top level. Yeah, this is not the ground, which I will get into. Anyway, so these huge pieces that I've just pointed out on that last image, you can actually see the remnant, the solidifying, as this concrete is poured into forms, you know, because you will have like, you will build like a board, a side wall to pour it into, but you're pouring it into a meshing, and you can still see the imprint. It's all rusted away now of that meshing. Okay, it's right there. I forgot the name of this pyramid, it doesn't matter. Most of you will know which one it is, but what I'm talking about, the Great Pyramids on Giza, we are only looking at the top section. Yeah, there is another one, I will show you it shortly, and it obviously goes down much more. This is a site in Mexico. It's the pyramid with the snake heads on the bottom, which everybody thought that, you know, that was the floor, and it wasn't. They recently excavated it in the last decade, and it's the same thing. It's much bigger, and it will be much bigger than this. Yeah, there will be, you know, 3 to 4 layers with other buildings on the lower tiers. Right, so you know the area in Mexico, I've just shown you where they have excavated down, and there's obviously more to it. Well, this is the Great Pyramid. Archaeologists, Egyptologists tell you that they carved this area out here, right, to lock blocks into place or something like that, but it's not. These are literally concrete blocks like this that just go further out and deeper, right? But this is just solidified lime that's ran out of all this concrete off these blocks with weather and been flooded, and it's just ran out on the floor and formed a hard surface over blocks that go down much deeper. Exactly the same way as this. This is the 9/11 site, the Twin Towers, you know, the huge hole in the car parking area, right? You know, that turn to dust. But you can see when it hardens, it forms, you know, like the stuff that I've shown you in like Peru. Yeah, it re-hardens again, extremely hard. That's Saxa Yaman. I've shown you that area. That's limestone that's solidified in the exact same way. That's another site. I don't know where that is now. This is the Giza Plateau, and these are called, when you look into these, they tell you that there are 3 different levels to these, of tunnels. They call them tunnels, right? They're not. They used to be, you're basically looking at the streets and then sewage systems of cities which are now completely buried under everything that you see here, right? This top tier level goes down double again, but then there's at least another 2 underneath that, right? There might be more, but there's at least 3 of this. This is the floor outside the pyramids at Giza, and you can see where other blocks used to lock into place, which have since been moved, and they've got rebar in them. You can see it there. You see that circular hole, but it's been knocked. So all these pieces have got huge bars inside, or used to have. They've been excavating around there. That all looks like it goes down about 10 feet. You can see a huge square here which they've filled in poorly with some crappy concrete that almost looks like sand, which other blocks used to lock into place, because this is not the floor. It's the second tier to something which is enormous. But as this type of method being used anywhere else on the world, well, not exactly, but maybe anyway. This is Tiwanaku, Pumapunku, and they're the what they call the H blocks. This is a site, I forgot where it is now, but you know, you can see that these are same type of thing, you know, where they will lock into place and won't move, but it's solidified limestone which used to be concrete. This is a close-up on these H blocks, which everybody has always called andesite, and it's not. You can clearly see, look at that, it's grey under there, and the reason why it cracks like that as it weathers away, natural stone does not do that, does it? And when you look at it, it is blindingly obvious that it's concrete, right, that's been submerged in water, come to the surface, solidified, and then dried out. But for those people that think that I go on sometimes about rebar, well, everything was built from rebar and forms. You know, when you're pouring concrete into forms like this, into a rebar meshing, because that's Stephen Mailer, who's, you know, part of the head of the chemist school in Egypt, who I used to follow, but he's completely ignoring this rebar inside this concrete. Well, because all this looks like, and obviously is, not beach sand. It's eroded concrete, which is what most of Egypt is, right? You can see it there. It's in that one there. It's in there. It's everywhere.